Welcome back to another episode of Birdo's ultimate GQ ute build from the ground up. He's bought the cheapest, shittiest patrol he could find and he's going to throw everything at it so it's ready to tour Australia and tackle the toughest tracks this country has to offer. In this episode, he's bringing the roof back to life, fitting up some tyres, rims and fresh panels, working on the cab and making a custom roof rack / roof sliders. Proudly supported by Opus, Ultimate 9, Superior Engineering, GME, Tie Gear, and in part by.
So today I'm going to start it off. I'm pulling the whole wiring loom out of this car, so I've got to get a master and booster out of the way so I can pull all this through. So I'm going to rip in and do that.
If you saw the previous episode, he completely stripped his wagon to pieces so he could use a bunch of the gear for the ute build. There were still a few bits he needed out of it though, and the wiring loom was one of them.
So we got Birdo's POV over here. Birdo's POV, we're pulling the loom through the firewall from this car. I got the whole thing out. It's a bit of a bloody mess, but you know, we get that. I've got stuff everywhere I'm tripping over, but I'm using this loom because this loom has power mirrors and power windows, and utes don't come with power windows, and all that works on this. So I got to get all of this through the firewall. Some things I can unplug. I'm trying to leave everything plugged in. I might just, you know, poke that through. I'll go pull it through. I'll plug it back in on the other side. Boom, boom, boom. So this one was in that. Boom. You sort of got to do it one at a time. Try and get as much of it as you can because, you know, it goes up to this big. It's barely going to fit, but we'll be right.
We aren't going to bore you with too much wiring, just one of those slow, fiddly, time-consuming jobs that had to be done.
A couple of days ago I went to the metal shop and I took my old gutter, you know, the folded gutter that goes on your roof that I've pulled off. And I've said, can you bend me up one with, you know, this angle and that angle? So I've got a new gutter. I just need to put a little kink in the end, like what that one is, so it matches. And then I'll be able to get this welded on. But before I do that, the roof where I'm going to weld it, I need to put weld through primer on so that it's not just bare metal and it will not rust. I'm going to tape just below. I'm not going to worry about taping on top because it won't matter if it goes over that black that I've put on there, because the only reason I've put that on is to stop it from rusting. It's pretty important too when you do something like this, you don't just use your household masking tape. So it leaves residue and it doesn't have a nice sealed edge like proper painting tape. So this is Bodyworks Evo by GPI. I don't know, I just went down to my local paint shop. They have a few different. I just grabbed this one. All right, I'm gonna do the same for the other side, but I'm not filming it. You just don't need to see me do all the sides. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Chickity, chickity, boom, boom. Step one. I'm going to take the gutters. These are zinc coated gutters, but can't be safer than sorry. I'm going to weld through prime the whole backside that is against it so that it has the best corrosion resistance that it can have. So these things have no holes, nowhere to hang them off, and I just need to slap some of this on there. I'm just going to sit it on top of the best paint stand you've ever had, GQ Patrol Ute. Give them a cover with this. Gonna let them to dry. I'm pretty sure I can pull this tape off now. I've got my gutter, my straight gutter, and it doesn't exactly line up with the curve. So I just had a bit of a spitball off camera because I'm like, how do I do this? I've come up with this. A couple of little notches and a couple of bends. Follows it exactly where it should do. Now I'm gonna weld up all those little cuts that I've made, grind them so you can't tell that I've done it. Look at that, look at that then. So I've got the piece all welded up, fits up good. I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side. How I got this done on the last one, you hold it up, pretty much in the right spot, get a firm grip on it, see where it starts to kick down, and then put a little mark. And then we're gonna go put a nick in that and this side, so we can kink it down. And then once we get it kinked down, I'll come over and we'll put another kink in it and see which way we kink it back up. So I've got my mark. We don't want to go all the way through it. We just want to go down the back side, down the front side, so then we can bend it like this. So I'm going to take that back over to the car. So I put a little mark at the back here, so I know the height that I need it, but you can just keep triple double checking that it is the height that you want. And I reckon just here. So now I'm going to take this one back over and we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to cut straight down. I'll probably have to bend it a little bit, take another skim, bend it a little bit, take another skim out of these two edges because they're going to fold up and then hit that, and we don't want that. Right, now that I got both of these fabbed up, I'm going to mark roughly where I'm having it sit, mark where I'm going to drill little holes so that I can spot weld this on. I might go to a 5mm bit. That's about the same size as what the factory spot welds were. Oh, look at that thing. As you can see, I've got this clamped on this side where it needs to sit, and I've got these all drilled out. So I'm gonna go get the welder. I'm gonna weld this one here, and one in the middle. And then I'm gonna go drill all the holes in the one on the other side, and I'll test fit the roof and make sure these are in the right spot, because with only 3, worst case, I can just drill the 3 welds out and then reposition it again. Or if I need to tweak this, I can do that then. Nice and sturdy. So I like the position of that one. That one looks good. So they're in the exact spot at the back, which is good. That sits nice in that gutter. This all looks good to me currently how it is. I have dipped this gutter down just a smidge too much here, but I'm not gonna recut it and weld it. It's close enough. I'm gonna get the patch bits that I have to fix this and the back one, and I'll get on to repairing this now. And I can probably actually finish plug welding all those holes. So now that I've got the gutter welded on, got my edge primer. I've taped up the bit that still needs to be welded too, because I'll weld through primer that section. But for now, all this can go edge primer black. I've got that up there. Doesn't have to be pretty, you won't see it, it's under the roof, but that's just another layer of rust protection. The gutters are all on. I need to get this installed as well. I think if I trace that line like that, I've pulled it slightly forward, so I'd rather cut out not enough than too much. There is the old piece off. You see, they rust right out from the inside. I think I'm lucky I went to the very short one on that side. That might have been a good measure. And then I think I need to go to the long one on that side, which I'm just going to take another bit. I'll go just before that line. I'm a rookie at this, but I had the gas off on that one. I'm just putting a couple of tacks with it flush so that it takes minimal effort to get it back to being good. I'm probably gonna tack this side, tack this, get it all sitting flush. And I'm gonna have to grind it smooth, and it's obviously gonna need to skim a bog. Let's hook in. So there's still some paint down here that I couldn't grind because of this bump, so I'm gonna get the wire wheel, give that a clean up, and I'll continue the tack here, tack here, tack here to keep it cool, because I don't want this to all warp and everything. This is an important bit. Let that cool down for a minute. I need to rust convert all this stuff, so I'm gonna wire wheel it, get all the loose flaky stuff off, get that same rust converter, put it on all this, make sure it's all nice. You've seen me put this one bit in. I still need to clean it up, but I wanted to do this first. I was about to start doing this one, but that area is like a full mess, and it made my OCD go, I need to clean this right now. So that's what I'm doing. The next thing I've got to do to this roof is repair this back section. So Tom, the legend from Legacy Rigs & Co, has given me the front piece and this back piece. These ones here suit normal roof and high roof, so they're a bit taller for the high roofs because they always rust out, but you can also just bend it around or trim it down to size. The way I'm doing this is I'm clamping these two together, so obviously they're the same height, and I'm lining up this line here with that one there, and I'm gonna put a tack here, and a tack here, and a tack here. And then I'm gonna just plunge the grinder down into this here. So then I can put it in flush with it, and then I'll tack, hold it together, tack, hold it together, tack, hold it together. And that's my tactic for this. I don't know whether it's right. I'm not a panel beater. That's just what I'm doing. It worked all right for the front one, I think. They're smooth where all the body lines are. Honestly, with even just that front edge with 4 tacks, I might put the roof back on the car and just double check that this lines up. As you can see, I've got the roof clamped on in various positions. It all lines up pretty good. So now I'm gonna put this grinder, plunge it into the roof, like I said. Now that I've got it all tacked the whole way around, and it's all, you know, smooth and beautiful, I am going to pull the roof back off, and then I'm going to go weld it out off the roof so I don't actually accidentally weld it to the roof. Now that that's all welded out, next step is to get my fibre sanding disc. Not a flappy disc because they dig in really bad. These are flat, so you can like hold it to the same thing and only take the weld off. This is 80 grit. I'm gonna start with that. Now that I've got those ground down and roughed in, I got the Orbi, I got the 120 grit. I'm gonna give it a bit of a go over and make it a bit more blended. All right, it's another day in the shed. We actually have no power currently because Tyler's getting the underground power hooked up and that power cable pulled down. So I'm doing jobs that I can. I wanted to be welding the roof on today, but they said there'd only be a couple hours, so I might get to later. But I've just cleaned in the bay. As you can see, it's much cleaner, a lot less of the road grime and fish oil. And my next job that I want to tackle is I'm going to paint this front face, not this section, but all the front rad support. I want to paint it all black. It looks good behind the grill. This is pretty ratty looking and it'll prevent some rust. So normally, you know, I've got the Orbi or whatever. I don't have one currently because no power, no compressor. So block, and I've got the Orbi pad on it. It'll work, it'll get the job done. This is 120. I'm then gonna hit it with 140. Boom, we've got power back. So put the hoist up. Now I can use the Orbi. I'm gonna give all this a bit of a sand up with the Orbi, and then a wax and grease remove, and then we'll give it a little paint. Now, boom, my X black, it's all it needs, I've decided. Don't need no high fill, this thing doesn't have to be pretty, it's just gotta be black. And then I'll give that 10, 20 minutes, and I'll come over and I'll give it another coat. Make sure it's fully coated, and then we'll move on to the gloss. Next step, come down, let that do its thing, get the roof welded on. Boom, bang. Hey, Alan. There's one, mate. These, I'm happy with where these are clamped. I'm probably gonna do all 3 of them, and then I'm gonna like pull and clamp and weld the whole way along. I'm gonna go around in sections and make sure that the whole roof sits in the right section. So I'm just flattening out, making sure it's flat with the gutter. That way it's sealed the best when I put seam sealer over this edge. I've got this whole side welded on now. Now I'm gonna go to the other side, and then I've got to do the corners. They were brazed on to start with, but we're not gonna do that, so I'm just gonna, it's pretty thin, so I had to cut it. I'm just gonna stack tacks along it, and then we're gonna grind it, and it's just gonna be, have a bit of body filler over it, which you won't even know. So I'm just tapping that with the hammer and the punch to make it dead flat with the gutter. It just makes it sit much nicer. They're all looking pretty good. Next step in this, I need to buff these down with the sander and then get them ready so they're smooth enough to put a bit of filler over the top. Gonna start with the 60 on the fibre disc. Next thing I'm gonna do, put this up, roll the chassis back under it, I'm gonna sit it down, and then I'm gonna put the doors on. I was pretty much just waiting to get the roof done to put the doors on. So, I'm gonna show you my new doors that I got. Once they're on there, I've got 2 new ones, 2 new guards and a bonnet, all the same from the same car to suit. So it'll almost look like a whole car once I get all that in. Help me. Shock hit the wheel and it went foom. Thank you. Just gassed myself out pushing this thing in, mate. Look at that. It's almost a car. New doors, new guards. It's always good to have a little halfway, see what the progress looks like, you know, keep you interested in it. What do you reckon, Demi? What do you reckon? Better than Tyler's?
I think you should leave the colour as is, Wayne. I actually really like it. I'm excited to see it finished.
Me and Demi are going to push this in and then I'm off. I'm off to Tamworth for my good boy Alan's 30th. I've got to meet up with Chaz and then we are carpooling out to Lithgow. You'll probably see that on his channel. So it's the weekend after my little trip away. Last thing you see me do was put guards, doors, bonnet on. So now I'm back. I've had half the day off. I haven't actually been working. I've been at home doing beadlock bolts on some rims, my old rims and tyres. I've put some second-hand 31s on them. I'll give you a look at them. Mate. Watch this. So the car currently, it's got 33 by 12.5 15s on it. Boom. And I'm gonna bang the new 31 on. You're probably thinking, that one's a bit bigger than that one. That one's a 33, this one's a 31. This is just an off-brand 31, so. Pro comp, I've never actually heard of them. I don't think they're any good. I'm just putting them on, so. I'm gonna give them a little test ride. You know, I've got new rims and tyres coming for this, but we're gonna put this on for now. So that's the front one. The 31, 2-inch, looks pretty good, I reckon. Looks pretty bloody good.
New doors, guards, bonnet and sitting pretty on a 2-inch lift and 31s. Things were really starting to come together now.
Am I happy with it? What do you reckon? You know, when you've just been working on this car for ages and you're just like, what am I doing? And then you have a look at this. Now you're good to go again for another 6 months. Next job I've got to do on this is I need to get it ready for roof sliders. I need to make the roof sliders so that I can hopefully go away next week and get some fancy stuff made. Snorkel, intake, airbox, dump pipe by the good blokes over at Radius. Yeah, 1 GQ bonnet. Goes down real slow with not much weight on it. I'm gonna give these a whiz up, give it a clean up, and then I'm gonna put some filler on it, and then I'll hit that with the DA, and we'll get it all looking nice enough anyway, and then I can move on to the next thing. All right, so to get all that off, I've got 240, fresh pad. I figured out, I don't exactly know what's the best order to do this, but I ain't a panel beater. But up under this seal, the gutter, I have to seam sealer. So I'm gonna prime it first. I got it lucky in my Air Betch black edge primer for bare metal. Just gonna give it a hit of that so that I can get the seam sealer all up in there. So I've got my body filler, lightweight. There's 3 different types. There's really fine, which is, my engine bay. This is lightweight, which is normal, and they do it really heavy for when there's big gaps, but I don't have any big gaps. Got some applicators. Just give this a bit of a mix. Now that I have that on there, I've let it dry. It's hardened enough that I can get the sander and start sanding it. So I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be noisy, it's gonna be long. You'll probably just get a time lapse of it. Right, so I've got a little first bit on there. I'll give you a bit of a close-up of it now that I've sanded it down. So as you can see, I filled it in a section and a section back here. It was obviously low where that bit is in the middle, which is what we want to fill up. So that's good. But now it's getting a bit hard to see what's low, what's high. So I've got to look. I've got a little, I'm gonna use this as a guide coat. Which means I'm gonna sand it again. I'm gonna go over it, and whatever stays black is low, and we need to put filler over the top of it. So now that I have skimmed all this and sanded it, next step is to blow all the dust off, and then I need to seal this with a primer. Boom, boom, cheeky-dee, cheeky-doo. Next thing I'm gonna do on this, fix the light up, man. I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna get the wire wheel on a grinder, and I'm gonna clean all the floor up, and then I'm gonna etch that black. So then I can just forget all about it. It'll be beautiful. I can put it back on, that's under the car done. And then once I've done that, I'm gonna move on to doing the roof sliders. I've still got a whole bunch of work to do on the engine bay, but one thing at a time, mate, one thing at a time. Up and away. It's on the lock. Hoist can't come down, doesn't mean it won't, but it shouldn't. So I'll give you a look what this thing is like underneath. So underneath, this thing is just a little bit scudgy, you know, a bit of grime build up, and just, you know, years of use. So I'm gonna hit this rough corner here with the wire wheel. Same as this one's back of the cab mount, scrape off all that stuff, and then I'm gonna have to weld that from the inside, but I'll give all this a nice coat of black paint and get it all looking pretty. So now that the roof's primed, I had to wait for that to dry before I could start working up there with some pipes. So I went and painted under the car. That's done. Now I'm gonna bring the car down and see if I can make some roof sliders. I've got a couple ideas how to mount them so they're clamp on and bolt on. "10 years later. This takes so long. I don't know if you've noticed, but my wagon sliders, they only went here. They didn't come down here. I'm gonna make these ones come down here. So I need to figure, first thing I need to figure is the angle of this, which I think 45 is very close to this angle. I'm gonna start with 45. I'm gonna see how that goes. I've got a bit of pipe. I'm gonna mark right where I'm gonna bend the 45. I pushed it back so it went a bit further so that I could position the bend, and if it's too long, I can just cut it short and it'll be right. I can't find my angle finder. Don't know where it is. Tyler cleaned up on the weekend. I don't know, I've looked. I can't find it. So I'm just gonna freehand it. Make it a smidge more and we'll be on.
Berto was having a bit of trouble making it with one piece of pipe, mostly because he couldn't find his angle finder he left on the welder, which he was still internally raging and blaming me for. But he ended up making two separate lengths to the correct length and then using a steam pipe bend to join them together. Later on, he can weld it out, linish it, and you'll never know it was there.
Boom, boom. I'll go tacking back on, but that's a pretty good look. Follows the pillar. Just, you know, cut these on an angle, make a plate. Cut that one on an angle, make a plate, and then make some crossbars. I might make the crossbars and everything right now with it all just tacked up. Boom, 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 cheeky D, mate. Another day in the f***ing shed, mate. Boom, boom. Another day in the shed, working on the ute. All right, so to give you a bit of an idea of what I'm doing, how I'm figuring this out, I have cut 2 of these with notches in the pipe. They're both 35mm, and I've got them in the exact same, so there's ribs on the roof in sections. They're symmetrical. I put it on these 2 ribs. This should be level with the roof. And then, because I've already got this one tacked on, I can measure the distance from here to the center of bend, center of notch, measure that, go and cut that off from the center of notch to the end. I should be able to slide that in there, tack it, and then I'll be able to remember that number, which is 84mm, if anyone was wondering, and then tack another one on the 84mm, and repeat that for this. They should be identical, they should be symmetrical, they might not be. I'll hit it with the level and double check, but that's how I'm gonna figure this out. Obviously these come out, so at the end it's just pipe, boom, just like that. I think that's a good distance, nice and tight, not too close that you can't wrap anything on. I'm gonna get it all tacked up, and if I don't like it and it's too tall, I'll trim them down. So I'll take you over here. I've just notched this with my Speedworks notcher, and then I've also marked on here the 84, and I'm gonna cut that in the drop saw. I've got the wrong size hole saw, so you just have to give it a bit of an extra clean up to get it to sit nice. All right, let's take this over to the car and have a look. I reckon that looks good like that. So now the secret is, measure what this is. I'm gonna make it over there, and then I'll have to trim this one down so it lines up in the right spot. Boom, a little bit of lube. I think you're recording, aren't you? Chee, boy. Let's move over to the bandsaw. Let's move over to the cold saw. Not even a cold saw. Let's move over to the drop saw because Tyler hasn't bought me a bandsaw yet. So, all these mate, I tell you, unacceptable, Tyler. Where's my bandsaw? Let's get my safety helmet. Where did I put my safety helmet? Where the flickin' floppin'? My dad once said to me, open your eyes, find a surprise. It was right on the bender, right in front of me. What do we reckon about that? What do we think about that? Let's get a couple angles. Look at that. Look at that. I didn't like how it was turning out with those things. They were fouling on the roof. Wasn't quite the right bend.
I'm going to skim through this part as it was just a lot of back and forth and figuring things out, but from what I can gather, the general idea was Berto wasn't happy with having those little steam pipe bends at the end, didn't make things work how he had hoped and wanted. Went with proper bends at the end, but made it in two separate pieces and then joined and welded them together somewhere in the middle.
Like that, give that a cut, and then I'll figure out how to join them. Bob's your uncle, mate. That'll be one of these made. I need to make two of them and then a light bar one. I'm gonna cut a slit in this, squeeze it together, and I'm gonna make it slide in the inside of this, and that's how I'm gonna give it strength back. So now that I've cut a slot out, I need to squish it down a bit. I've got that piece in the middle, slipped in, holding it together, keeping it stronger. I'm gonna pull it off, weld this out, and then I'm gonna lineage up this weld, you won't even know it's there, and I'm gonna move on to make the next one. Boom, look at that. Can't even tell. I'm gonna hit that with some black, won't even notice. Now let's go poke this back on the car. We'll get to making the next one. So, I actually figured out that I suck at figuring out how to make these things symmetrical and go together. I made it too short. I cut those things down, it no longer reached anymore. So, I'm just gonna finish out this notch, make it pretty so it fits nice on the car for both of them, and then I'm gonna have to figure out what side of piece I need in the middle. That's what I've got to do, and then I'll just lineage it down and it'll be fine. Anyway, let's keep working, keep grinding. This is what I've got so far. Two. I need to make the front one, obviously. They're just sitting there. Boom, boom. That's what I've got so far. The next one is the hardest one to make. It's the one that comes off at a 45, so I need to notch it at like whatever, it might not even be a 45, but it comes off at an angle and at 90s. So I've got to try and figure that out. How to do that, which is going to be harder than this, and I can't even figure out how to do that properly. So, see how we go. Next step, weld these out and then lineage them all down. And boom, mate. We're back. Finished the morning's errands. It's And it's almost lunchtime, to be honest. 11:55, so yeah, lunchtime.
Now, I am sorry, Birdo, but I got confused as hell editing all this together, and it's 10 p.m. at night, so I can't call you to explain it to me. I'm trying to get this done because I'm flying down to Tassie tomorrow. I need to have this video done. There's just a lot going on. I have about 4 days of footage of Birdo making this roof rack slider setup, and he was obviously figuring it all out as he went. Just hooking in, having a crack, but there seems to be bits of footage missing and multiple different versions of each component, and honestly, I just can't keep up. Apologies, I'm doing my best.
That's going to be good enough for me. I might make version 2 of these one day, not sure. Maybe when I get better at fabricating, I'll look back at it and I'll think, this is terrible. I'll remake it, but that's all part of it. Something I can change in the future, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Now that I've got these all cut out and cleaned up, I need to make a little plate. So I'm going to have to trace this onto some metal and then cut that out, weld it on, sand it down. So let's get into that. So now I've got to weld this thing on here.
Okay, so the 2 bars that run along the sides were made and caps were welded on them. 2 out of the 3 crossbars were made. Before he finished off the 3rd crossbar, Birdo wanted to start working on some feet for the back 2 so that he could clamp them down onto the bars that run along the side.
I like how that's looking. I just need to make sure that they're evenly spaced apart on the pipe. So I'm going to get a tape measure, take some measurements, and then I'll probably tack weld those just to the plates that I've just made, and then I'll drill through and we'll get it all ready to be mounted and bolted. The very front one isn't going to be bolted on, it's still just going to be welded on. It gives me more clearance from the roof, which I needed anyway, and that's the real reason I f***ed up and I ain't really doing it. I ain't really doing it. They're all tacked on now. I might try and get the front one tacked on because then I won't have to have the clamps holding them on. It'll be wedged on the roof and it won't be able to move. Yeah, I just need to tack some stuff. I need to put 2 tacks. Them ones are fine, this front one. I need to hold, you grab the other side of it. That actually looks pretty good. So now I'm going to utilise these holes that I've pre-drilled in these plates to drill into the new pipe on the roof. That is this side done. I'm going to move on to the next side and then I'll pull these off. I'll be able to weld these out. Pull one of these off, go weld it out, drill and tap these to whatever size I'm going to do them to, and then we'll move on to making clamps. One pipe welded out. Right, got my 5mm drill bit. Once we go to 5mm, we'll get tap. It's another day in the shed. I need to finally mount this down, so clamps and a bracket to clamp here. Not sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to get some thin metal to start with. I'm going to bend it to figure out the bend that I need, and then I will get someone to fold me up some out of some thicker material. Let's come over to the bench and figure this out. What am I going to do here? I'm just sort of snowballing. I drew this line and I didn't even cut to it. I need to figure out the angle this mounts on the pillar and then wraps up the pipe, so then I can mount it to the pipe and on the pillar. So I'm going to take this over to the car before I trim it down because I need to leave this long so it's much easier to fold. We'll have a look on the car. Little bit by little bit until we figure out the right angle. Let's see, that's what we've ended up with. Let's see if I can cut this off, see how close it is on the actual car. See that. This is what I've ended up with. It's going to sort of clamp around it like that. Bolt to the pillar as well. So I'm going to get a friend to fold this up in 2 30cm lengths. And then I can, I'm probably not going to leave it like a big box like this. Once I get it folded, I'll draw some round edges on and make some curves and make it a whole bunch prettier. But I think that's going to get the front done. So now I'm going to move on to the back and make some clamps for the back section to the gutter. And I think I'm going to start with the 40 NB half section like I did yesterday. All right, I've got all 4 of these cut out. Now I need to make the rest. I've got to make the bloody rest of them. So, oh, that's bright, isn't it? So, I've just made this clamp off camera. I really just wanted to nut one of them out, figure out how I was going to do it. I wasn't quite sure. So this is a piece of 40 MB cut. So it sits on the bottom half of this radius, and then I've got some 3mm thick. It was 30 by 30 angle, and I've actually cut them, welded them together, drilled holes, tapped the pipe. Because I bolted it under, it actually clamps onto the gutter. So I'm going to show you how I make 3 more of these, if you're lucky. I might not. I might show you how to make 1 and then just make 3. These marks here are obviously center of this, center of that. That's exactly where I want the clamp. So I'm going to make it all symmetrical, look even, gaps the same. It's going to all be pretty, mate. It's going to be... I've never put this much effort into making something in my life. I've got a whole bunch of cutting to make the rest of these clamps. I've got all these halves, which I only really need this much of. So I've made them all identical, so they'll be the same height. So I'm gonna get to cutting all of these out. So that's 3 of those bits. The next bit is I've got this angle. I measure up 10mm from the bottom of that, mark a straight line. I'm gonna do the same thing. So I've got all 3 of them cut out. I've got to give them a bit of a clean up, flappy wheel, all the edges. And then I actually have to go and hold them up on the car, hold them together, tack them together, and then I come back and drill holes and I'll show you how to get it done, mate. So let's go hold this up on a car. They go like that. Just enough tacks to hold it together like that, and then we'll go weld it on the bench, trim this end off, tidy it all up, and mark where we need the holes center punched. Alright, got them all cleaned up. Now it's time to drill some holes. That one's hot, hot, hot. That one here. So I'm going to start all these off 5mm. Do I even have this thing going? Yeah, it's going, mate. Center flying, mate. Come here. I'm going to step it up, 6.5mm. Final step, put them in, do them up. So that's that one done up. So that's on there now. That ain't going anywhere. That's pulled that right down where I want it. It's pulled this up a little bit, but that's all right, because when I make this other bracket, I'll bolt that one on first, and then clamp this, and it'll hold tension on all of it, so it's really tight. That is a win. I think I've got to drill and tap the other side, but you don't need to let me do that. All right, so another day in the shed. Back from the weekends, Monday. Yesterday was Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Happy belated Father's Day. I'm late, but now I'm making the pillar mounts. So I had my friend fold these up for me. 3mm stainless. These are 270 long. I don't know if they need to be that long. I'm just going to use them that length. So I put them on the pillar. Sort of marked out where I want to have them. And now I am marking down every 40mm. I'm going to drill a hole and put a bolt, so that'll really hold it to the pillar. And then once that's mounted to the car, I'm gonna hold the pipe to it, and I'll probably put 4 or 5 up the side of this pipe to get real straight. So let's get this over to the bench. I'm gonna center punch, drill some holes out, and give you a look on how to do that. So I got my big ruler. I measured in 15mm from the edge, and then every 40mm on here. So now, where they all cross the pins, boom, boom. So now we're going to put these in the drill press. I've gotten some zinc coated steel riv nuts, not alloy, so they're stronger. I'm going to put them into the pillar. I was going to weld nuts in, but I'm going to see if they're going to work first, especially if I have 5 or 6 on each plate. It should hold plenty enough to hold it in. So I'm going to drill this out to 6mm. These are countersunk bits. So once I've drilled them all out, I'm going to switch over to the countersink bit, and I will countersink every single one of these. I'll probably go to 7mm just to be safe. So next step of this is attaching it to the pillar. I'm going to drill out some holes, get the rib nuts going. And then once I have drilled that hole, boom, SP rib nutter. Now I'm going to go and get another Allen key, screw it in, so I've got both of them screwed in, and then we're going to drill all them out to the hole of this, and then we know those holes exactly line up, and then I'll pull this plate, one of these out, flick it up, drill them all out to the 9mm that I need for the riv nut, and I'll riv nut them all. I did try and countersink these, but stainless steel doesn't like drilling, especially a big countersink. And these ones didn't countersink that good. They're partially countersunk. So I've got him done up. Got him done up. So now that I've got that drilled through, I'm going to undo this one that I just put in, swing it out of the way, and then I've got to go up to 9mm, and then we'll riv nut them all. You can feel when they stop squishing, because if you get the alloy ones and you just pull them too hard, let me tell you, they strip the thread straight out, but these steel ones, much stronger. Got those, now I'm going to go get 3 more screws, get them screwed in, we'll be good. Alright, I've got this side on there. I'm going to do the same for the other side, and then get the rack back on, get the rack mounted to that. Alright, so I've got the roof sliders back sitting on the car, about where they need to be. So now I need to drill some holes through both of the bracket and the pipe, and then I need to pull the pipe off, tap it out, do them all up, have that clamped there, do the same for the other sides.
This episode's gone over time, but that was the roof rack and roof sliders done and mounted. The only thing left is a proper paint job on them. Shout out to Berto, who's killing it with the ute build. We will see you guys in the next episode.